Guys, we are live. It is 2 o'clock on Friday, which means that we are live in the low stress, high profit group. And today I wanted to give you guys some more findings that I have found worked really well for me. With a lot of this stuff, guys, I'm not here to tell you what to do with your gym. I am just sharing what has worked well for me, and maybe if you do it, it will work well for you. So today we're talking about retention, right? Churn, people quitting your gym, members quitting, and how do we reduce that? How do we get people to stop quitting? Because then we have to acquire a lot less new members, and which is much easier. To keep somebody at your business is so much easier and so much more profitable because there's no cost of acquisition to receive that same amount of money that you would be losing if somebody quit, right? You got to replace them with somebody new that's going to pay that amount of money, but you have to pay a cost to acquire that new person. So if you're constantly losing people and then replacing them, you have this massive cost of acquisition that you just would not have if you just stopped losing people, which means way more profit. Right. So lifetime value is huge. Right. So I'm going to break down. This is going to be a quick video of what has worked for me. The old way, which I have done to the highest freaking level, and the new way. Right. And so I brought my handy little chalkboard, not chalkboard. Use black so you can see it a little bit better. Flip chart. And so here's the old way, guys. Old way. Basically, in the old way, can you read that? Yeah. The 5 things that we would normally do. I'm going to jump on this side. The 5 things that we would normally do in the old way of doing this would be 1, and this is how to retain your customers, right? These are things that we would do. Most gyms, most micro gyms would do to keep all of their members, right? And it is very system based. It is very a centralized, and I'll write that on the top. Central system. And it is usually ran by a retention manager. Or owner. Okay, so this is the old way. A centralized system, retention manager or owner is running this system. And here are the 5 things that I would do at my gym when I was running this system. The first one, track attendance. Okay, so track attendance. If somebody did not come to the gym by the 3rd or 4th day of the week, then we would send them an automated message asking them where they were at, and if there's anything that we could do to help them get back into the gym. And that would be our way of making sure that we're holding them accountable to the workouts, right? Pretty cumbersome when you have 300 members, 400, 500 members, but we were doing that, right? Number 2, track communication. So we would send out automated messages 3 days a week, sometimes less than that, but around 3 days a week. And anybody that did not respond back to us within 14 days, no responses back, they tripped an indicator, basically saying they were at higher risk of churning out because they're literally just not communicating with the business, right? And when they're not communicating with the business, then it's more likely that they are going to quit because they do not find the value even enough to shoot us a simple text message back. And a lot of the times we're not asking them probing questions. We're like, hey, is everything going good? Give me a thumbs up if it is, give me a thumbs down if it's not. And if they can't even get back, usually then they are more likely to churn out. Number 3, member events. So we would run member events and we would make sure that everybody that we could possibly know would come to the member events. We'd spend a shitload of money. I shouldn't say a shitload. It'd be anywhere from like $500 to $1,000 per member event. We'd get everybody there, show them a good time, let them know that we appreciate them, and build that strong community. Okay, that would be something that we would do probably 6 times a year, something like that, a different kind of event. Number 4, We did handwritten cards. Okay, so these handwritten cards, I had 300 members when I was doing this, and I would break them up amongst my 10 coaches. So each coach had about 30 people that they had to write a card to each month, right? And then they would get a card from us saying, hey, Susie, great job in your workout today. I'd just like to take a second aside to make sure that the program's going well, congratulate you on your first official pull-up, and the gym cares about you, right? And we would do that always, right? And then number 5, exit interviews. So that is basically making sure that the person would sit down with the retention manager or the owner if they wanted to cancel, and then we would try to recover them by changing their program, or at least if they still canceled, we'd learn something about our business that maybe we could fix. Okay, so these were the 5 things that we were doing to retain customers, and that got us from industry average. How much room do I have? Okay, enough. It took us from 10% churn to 7% churn. Okay, so we dropped 3% churn. Doesn't seem like a lot, guys, but let's do some math. If you have 300 members, 10% churn is you're losing 30 members every single month. Okay, if you have 300 members and you're at 7% churn, that means you're losing about 21 members every single month, meaning that you are saving 9 members. While if your membership rate is $200, 9 times 200 is $1,800 that you're saving that month. Okay, on just a 3% drop. Now take $1,800 and multiply it by 12 months, a 12-month running average, and you're looking at over, $2,000 times 12 will be $24,000. So a little bit less than that, maybe $20,000 per year in profit, right? Maybe not 100% profit, but damn, pretty close to 100% profit because there's no cost of acquisition to keep them, right? And I don't know about you, but if I could just move this percentage by 3% and I get an extra $20,000 at the end of the year, that is pretty cool. Okay. So the thing is that on paper, this looks great, but let's talk about, and I'll get another color, what it actually looks like in practice. Because guys, I ran this system for 2 years and I taught this system, right? And so I have perspective on it. And let me tell you, let's just say this one as an example. This first one, track attendance, people didn't like it. Surprisingly enough, people did not like you reaching out to them every single fucking week if they didn't make it to the gym. And they'll be like, look, I had this going on. I had this going on. I wasn't sure about this. They don't mind if the coach shoots them a message like, hey, man, I missed you in our class today. That's different than an automated message saying you did not, even if you took your automated message and you, made it as personalized as you possibly could, it's still going to be the same every week, right? And so they know it's automated. Even if you have custom fields like, hey, John, didn't see you in class so far this week. Like he's going to get it over and over and over again. Right. And people are like, hey, man, you don't have to keep texting me all the time because they know it's automated. They know a system is doing it. Right. Maybe not if you have 10 members, but God, we're talking about this system at volume, right? At volume. Okay. So with 300 members, it is going to be the same messages and there are going to be going out. And sometimes you'll fuck it up where somebody comes in and they just didn't check in or scan in or however they are supposed to, register them being at your gym. And they're like, dude, I was there. And now you don't have anybody responding back to this automated message. So then they're like, are you guys even, I text you back and it didn't even say anything to me. And it gets weird. Okay. Cause it's coming from an automated system. Second one, track communication. People didn't like it. What you think? Now, not everybody, But some people just want a plan and they just want to work out and they just want you to tell them what the plan is and when to work out. And they don't want you to message them every fucking day asking them how they're doing. They're like, dude, I'm doing fine. Like, I'm good. Like, it's all good. But then it's an automated system. So you keep on messaging them, or you could remove them from the automated system and then they don't get any reach outs, right? Both of these are good on paper, but in practice, it's a ton of messaging. It's a ton of text messaging and a lot of organization. And you got to be pretty organized to do it. Now, again, I had a retention manager doing this, but this guy cost me 40K. Okay. And it probably cost me $500 per month in text. Okay, for the software and for the actual messages themselves, right? So just to run this system, it was pretty expensive. Now, again, we did the math. If I'm able to cut my churn down, and of course, I sell higher ticket than $199 a month. So when I cut my churn down, it does make up that amount of money. Better client experience leads to more referrals. It makes sense. It made sense to do it, but it wasn't very fun, especially for somebody that was largely a retention manager, not a coach, to be making sure people are coming in, holding them accountable, and not to mention all the messages going out to the members that didn't want to be reached out to, 3 times a week or something like that. It was just it was excessive. Like me, I'm thinking about myself. Like, I have worked with a coach for a long time, right? And he knows exactly what I need and when I need to make my adjustments for my macros and when to adjust my programming and that kind of stuff. Like, I don't need a message from him 3 times a week, like asking me how I'm good, man. Like, just let me do my thing, right? And I think that there's going to be quite a few members at the gym that are like that as well, but your system doesn't know who is who. So they're going to get it anyways. Number 3, member events. These didn't generate money. So they cost money. Let's say minus, you do 6 a year, they cost $500. That's 3K. All right. Nowadays, I teach how to do events that only make you money, whether they directly make you money, like here is your dollars, or they bring in referrals. But we would never run an event just to retain members, right? That is a byproduct of running a good event with the objective of that event to generate new clients, new members, referrals, or actual real dollars that you put in your pocket. So doing them for the purpose of retention doesn't make sense. They should have a better objective and just know that retention is going to be improved because of it, but not necessarily one of your pillars. Handwritten cards, trainers hated it. And you don't want to pay this guy to write all of them, the retention manager, because he's not even coaching in most cases. And so the client doesn't get that real connection. It'll just say like, thanks for coming to our gym, signed Andy. And they're like, why are these people spending so much money on cards? It works really well if the coaches are writing them. They're writing them consistently. They do a personalized message in each one of them. But guys, they hate doing it. They want to move metal. They want to drop heavy weights. They want to help people break through plateaus and give them sweaty high fives. They don't want to be in some office writing cards. They just don't like doing it. And then they have to track it, right? They have to track it on a spreadsheet because guess what? You you don't want to write. You don't want the trainers to be like, oh, not communicating, be like, I'll write a card for Mrs. Jones. She's always in class. And then she gets 5 cards that week, from 5 different coaches because nobody's communicating. So it has to be on some kind of a spreadsheet. And that makes it even worse for the coaches because now they have to write stuff and then track it, right? So in theory, it works good, but trainers hate doing it and it costs you money. To get those blank cards that have your logo and maybe a picture on it, you're looking at another 3K on the year if you get a good deal, right? Exit interviews. These things I love. And so exit interviews, we still do, right? We just shifted away from the retention manager to the coach. So now that I've kind of explained the old way, right, this is going to cost you roughly 4 plus, so 40 plus 369 is about 49K. $49K for 10 to 7% churn. Okay, roughly. So you're going to pay 50 grand to retain your members. And the idea is that that it's going to save you a lot more than 50 grand in lost membership fees that you would have if you don't have this system in place, right? That's all on paper, guys. Now, what I'm here to tell you is that there is a much better and a much easier way to do this, right? And it only uses 3 ways. So the new way, new way is decentralized. Decentralized system. And it's ran by coaches, not the owner or the manager. So how does it work? Well, somebody signs up at your gym and they immediately get assigned to a coach, right? So number 1, assigned to coach. Whoops. Okay, and that coach is going to do things like their nutrition, their goal setting, weekly tracking, workout attendance, homework. And that could be like steps, events, so on and so forth. Hey, I want you to do this. I want you to do this, right? And so the coach, so think about it like this. Now we have that same amount of 300 members, right? But it's broken up across 10 coaches. Each coach is responsible for 30 members apiece, right? And they're responsible for that client's communication. They're responsible for that client's attendance. They're responsible for that client's results. They're responsible for designing a really cool plan that the person can follow the entire time, right? They are responsible for renewals, right? So when that client's initial period goes up, they are going to be renewed into something new, right? And why would your coaches want to do all of this stuff? Because you are taking this money, I'm going to use this. You are taking this money and you are giving it to your coaches instead, right? And it is going to take your 10 out when I get to the bottom of that, but it's going to take your 10% churn down to 3%, period. Now we're making some real money, guys. And so number 1 is they're assigned to coach. Number 2, and just so you know, the reason that we do this is because the coach is going to have a real relationship, right? A real relationship. I'm going to jump on this side with them. And so the point is that it's not just submitting a form when it comes to them. It's not just submitting a form when it comes to them canceling. It's almost like breaking up with somebody, right? It's a hard conversation for people to have if they've been working with a coach. Now, guys, how you facilitate this at your gym, that's completely up to you. I teach a bunch of ways to do it. You could assign them for, 30 minutes once a week to sit down and meet with their coach, right? And go over all of this stuff and do weigh-ins and hold them accountable. You could do semi-private training and that coach has 4 people at once and they're able to pull it off. You could do private personal training where the coach is actually working out with them for 30 minutes once a week. 30 minutes is kind of like the minimum effective dose. You could do an accountability coach. So they're never actually meeting them or meeting with them in person. They probably see them in the classes or whatever, but that accountability coach is still doing all of these things, right? And you pay them a certain amount to do that, but it will add up to roughly the same amount of money, but have a much, much bigger impact by decentralizing all of your retention across your team of coaches, right? and it works really well. Now, if you're like, hey, I don't have any coaches, well, guess what? You could take the money that you are losing right now with people quitting and hire a coach with zero expectations. Hey, coach, I have no clients for you, but I'm going to give you clients. And your job is going to be to retain them and to get them amazing results. And your job is going to be able to do all of these things. If you don't know what all those things are, I'm not going to go over them in this video because I've made other videos on them. But my point is everybody gets assigned a coach. And if you don't know how to do it profitably, if you're like, I don't know how to pay these guys, I don't know how to motivate them, I don't know how to incentivize them, I don't know how to get them to do what I want them to do, I would have no idea how to roll something like this out to my existing team of coaches, I don't know, right? That is what I do. That is what the Perfect Gym Model is for. That is what me and my coaches teach gym owners, is how to do this. If you're not already doing this, welcome to the club. Nobody was. We cut over a whole bunch of gyms into this model and they're making a shitload of money, right? You just have to be willing to, want to make a change, right? Because if you're losing 10% of your members, like industry average, that's too fucking high. And you're never going to make any profit because to replace them is incredibly expensive. So number one is getting them with a coach, right? We switch from selling fitness memberships to selling coaching programs. And when somebody signs up for a fitness membership, guys, that is a monthly expense in their mind. It doesn't matter how cool you think your gym is, right? If all they're getting is fitness workouts, it's a expense, a monthly expense to them. It's their gym membership, right? When you're selling them, when they have a coach that's walking every step of the journey with them, weighing them in on a weekly basis, setting goals for the next week, giving a shit, giving them homework, shooting them a quick text if they miss workouts they're supposed to come to, these kind of things that are really fun, right? It's fun for the coach to be able to take this journey with them because at the end, they're going to be there together too. When somebody buys something like that, guys, that is them making an investment in themselves. They are investing in a coaching program. That is a lot different than paying for a fitness membership. Right? People find ways to make an investment work because they make an investment to make themselves better, right? And so the whole narrative is different. Sell coaching programs, assign them to a coach. How you want to actually fulfill on it, that's up to you. Number two is client experience. Now, I do an entire video on client experience in this group. I am not going to do it again because you could just literally go in the search bar and type in client experience, and I will take you through the 10 checkpoints of giving clients an amazing freaking experience, right? They're not going to want to churn out if every time they leave the gym, they have a big ass smile on their face, right? However, if you think the only part of a client experience is the workout itself, that is probably why you're losing a lot of members. Client experience is massive and it is really, really important. And from the second they see your ads, to the second that they see your organic marketing, to what they see when they walk in, to how you greet them, and if it's by first name, how the sales appointment goes, how the handoff between the sales and the coaching goes, how their workouts are, how their post workouts are, how you bring them to events and community stuff and talk about them and shout them out. All of that stuff, that's all client experience. That is all like, do they feel like they're part of this community? Do they feel like they have a consistent workout or routine that they love doing, right? That's all client experience. If that's not good, then people are going to leave, right? And that's just you having a really good business. Number three, exit interviews. We keep that from the first one, the first system. But these are done by coaches, okay? So this exit interview is done by a coach. And that way the coach has the ability to modify their program to a higher level. And we have forms that go along with it. But essentially it's like, hey, okay, you sound like you don't want to continue, or what's going on, Mrs. Jones? Like, we are in momentum right now. Like, we are crushing it. She's like, you know what? I just can't do the 6 a.m. anymore. I'm too tired and my kids keep me up late and whatever it may be. And the coach can be like, you know what? I have an opening at 6 p.m. Why don't we try that for a little bit? Come in after work. I'm going to move this thing around. I'm going to save this spot for you and we're going to make it happen. Right. And next thing you know, that try this out for 30 days turns into 60, 90, and we recovered them. Right. The coach has the ability to sit down and have an authentic conversation with them, not just some manager that they met once. Right. That doesn't really, it's the coach sitting down with them and figuring it out. Now, how do you keep coaches accountable? We have a big scoreboard system. Again, I'm not going to go through that today, but I think I made a video on it. Just type in scoreboard system or tracking. So like our coaches, they get KPI bonuses on this stuff. If they retain a certain amount of the members that are assigned to them, they get more money. If they renew these clients into longer term programs, they get commission, right? Anytime they train somebody or are assigned a coach to work with, they get paid for that. I'm reallocating this $50,000 that I was spending on my old system, and I'm giving it to my team, people, instead of software and systems. I'm giving it to people and letting them form relationships with my clients. And because of that, we are now going from 10%, I'm going to write this down, 10% churn to 3% churn. Whoops. Okay, 10%. I got to move this camera. All right, 10% churn to 3% churn, guys. That's the average of the gym owners that we're working with. They don't quit, okay? If you have 300 members, 9 of them are going to quit that month. Much, much easier to, not 9, that's not even correct math. 10% would be, of 300 would be 3. I'm sorry, 30. So divide that by 3. Yeah, right about there, right about 9. And so to make that up is much, much easier, guys, much easier. And we do it through organic methods. And I'm telling you, if you have a lot of happy members that are staying for a long time, they get better results and they refer and they do a lot of cool stuff. So anyways, guys, that's all I wanted to cover. We can go talk about all things gyms. I could sit here for 2 hours and talk with you, right? But when I'm talking about client retention, the old way costs you a lot of money, looks good on paper. It turns out in practice, nobody likes doing it. And it is a complicated system and everything is centralized, coming back to the owner, who then has this added level of stress. They feel like they're responsible for everything and they got to do everything themselves. And if people quit, it's all on them, versus decentralizing it, right? And taking your members and spreading it across your coaches. And guess what? If somebody is at 10% churn, you can teach that coach how to bring it down. And it doesn't affect the rest of your business, right? Because the rest of your coaches will be at 2 or 3%, right? And so anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I know it's a higher level overview. If you did really want more information on exactly how to do this, all you have to do is just drop just type in me below this video, just drop a quick me, and I'll shoot you a DM and hook you up with somebody on my team, and they'll break all this stuff down for you guys and how we do it and how it works for basically any gym. But if you go from 10% churn to 3% churn, guys, you're saving a lot of fucking money every single month, right? A lot. And this is what some of the best gyms in the industry are doing, and it's not quite as complicated as you would think, and you do not have to be a super high level gym owner to do this. So appreciate you guys taking the time out of your Friday to watch this. If you did not, I will be dropping the replay so you can watch it at a later point in time. And I appreciate you guys, and we'll talk next Friday. We'll be going live. I'm out of here.